What is clearly a myth but is deep-rooted in our society. Despite there being IRC only one recorded instance in the US ever, there is a widespread perception that people are destroying Halloween treats with needles and razors. Aside from that, sweets for kids is being drugged. Since drugs are expensive, no one will waste their supply on adolescent randomness. That good people get rewarded and that bad people get punished. We have to believe it, otherwise we have to face the deeply horrifying reality that a large amount of good things and bad things happen just because they do. That we have bugger all influence. Our brains want it to be fair, so we try super hard to believe this sort of thing. A lot of it is lucky people telling themselves it isn't luck. A lot is lucky people telling the unlucky it's merit. Cheaters never win. I had a coworker that always showed me shortcuts and easier ways to do my job, and his motto was, cheaters always win. Over cracking your knuckles cause arthritis. Was not there a doctor who only cracked one of his knuckles for 50 years to disprove this? I think he even got a Nobel Prize because of it. Not exactly a Nobel, an Ig Nobel is a satiric prize, but still an honor. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. This was a slogan made up by the originators of the Kellogg's Company more than 100 years ago, not really based on any science. More detailed scientific studies in the last 100 years have mostly disagreed on it, and it depends more on the person and their personal and eating habits. But it's definitely false to simply say that breakfast is the most important meal. Thank you for this. I have been saying it for decades. I come from a whole family of genetic non-breakfast eaters, even those of us not raised together. In fact, eating too early in the day makes me feel god-awful. A little intermittent fasting and clearing the system before lunch seems to feel best for me, at least. Shoveling in food just because a cereal company told us to is nauseating, lol. Hymen indicates if you've been sexually active or not. And that the vagina gets loose and roomy after penetration. Like brew, it shoves a human out of there and maintains its elasticity. What's a penis gonna do? Those words were used to describe vaginas in a table differentiating a true virgin and a false virgin in my sexual jurisprudence chapter in my forensic medicine textbook. Yeah, a vagina can push out a whole human head and retract, and they really think a little human peener is gonna change it. Shaving your hair makes it grow back darker and thicker. I am 45 and balding, been shaving my head for like 8 years. I wish. You do not need to wait 24 hours to report a missing person. This is a myth perpetuated in crime shows and other media. If you think someone's is missing, you should report it immediately. If you just work hard, your bosses will appreciate it and promote you, and soon you will be wildly successful. To quote the Sprague, I used to do the work of two, my role and even more, but now they have spied how hard I have tried. I do the work of 4. If your Tootsie Roll Pop rapper has the guy with the bow and arrow pointing at the star, you get a free one. The daddy long legs in the most venomous spider in the world, but can't penetrate our skin. The venom is actually pretty weak, but they can penetrate the skin. Edit, because I have gotten this comment way too much. Daddy long legs are arachnids, but not spiders. That Marilyn Manson removed 1 or more ribs for easily suck his own dick. It's so impressive that this rumor spread everywhere without the internet. It's total bullshit. I have removed 6 and still can't suck my own dick. The only thing you need to do to be rich and successful is work hard. The only thing you need to be rich and successful is money. How do you get money? By being rich and successful. Carrots give you better eyesight. Well, you have never seen a rabbit wearing glasses, have you? The idea rabbits like carrots, any more than any other vag anyway, is also a myth. It's based entirely on Bugs Bunny always having one. Bugs only started carrying a carrot as a parody of Clark Gable, and it happened on night. The carrot became Bugs' signature, then everyone forgot about the movie it originated with and started assuming rabbits love carrots. That immigrants took your job, rich people moved your job to China, and now that China is strong, rich people will have you go to war with them over it. That humans only use 10% of their brain. Sorry to tell you, we don't have some massive untapped potential in our brains that will turn us into superhumans, or some shit. I use 100% of mine to be this dumb. It would be impossible to even begin to enumerate all of the myths, deceptive advertising, and pseudoscience that exist in the health and nutrition industries. The Myers-Briggs having any real meaning? That being rich is how Jesus says you are blessed. That book he is in actually says the opposite. The Bible also states that it is more likely for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than a rich person is to pass on to heaven. That lemmings commit mass suicide to control their own population. This is a lie told by a Disney documentary back in the 50s. Ironically, it won an Oscar, I think. West Aussies losing the Emu War. Well, the most famous part of it was a loss. The bounty system put in place afterwards successfully culled the population. And then the Second War in the 50s was cleanly won by humans. Hell, the famous part is only like the first 3 days. There were 3 soldiers, and only 2 guns. They were not experienced hunters, so the first couple of days went poorly. After that they killed between 1,000 to 2,000 emus. They ran out of their allotted ammunition, at which point the government thought it was more cost-effective to pay the bounties the previous poster mentioned. One 6-month period had over 50,000 bounties claimed. That politicians go into politics to serve the country. Potentially controversial, but in the US, that circumcision is for cleanliness. Red Bull gives you wings. It gives you diarrhea and anxiety. Alpha theory and dogs trying to be the leader of the pack, perpetuated by the media to no end. Debunked by the original author of the paper, David Mack, following on from Rudolf Schenkel's work, who tried to get it removed but publisher would not. A cop has to tell you he is a cop if you simply ask. Horoscopes? Like, really just think about it for a sec. The Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, and Leslie, the Queen of England. Massive overgeneralization, but food with high fat content was making people fat. It was sugar and its evil bitch of a mistress, high fructose corn syrup. This whole time, I believe there was at least some information suppression and lobbying on the part of Big Sugar to propagate the lie that fatty foods made people fat. That the flu jab gives you the flu. It can't. It's made with a dead virus. You may have a reaction to it and you may feel a bit under the weather for a few days, but it does not give you the flu. Once you turn 18, you cross the magical barrier and gain all the knowledge and maturity of an adult. Self-made billionaires. Technically, there are some people who were middle class, who got very lucky in risks they took, and managed to become a billionaire rather than get it handed down by rich family members. We must depend on our justice system for justice. The problem is really the notion of justice, which is a fiction, and the notion that the system is supposed to bring said justice. What we mostly have is a conflict-resolving system that strives to end conflicts in order to avoid vigilantism, feuds, conflicts between rich and poor, etc. Homeopathy, all of it, useless lies and a mythological mechanism of action sitting right there next to scientifically studied and proven effective remedies. And most people think it's just an alternative medicine. That serving the basic needs of its people is somehow communism. A famous myth is that the US is a free country. It's only really free if you are rich. Vast majority of people make just enough money to scoot by. Meanwhile, a couple people at the top make 100s or 1,000s of times more than someone's yearly income in a matter of days, hours, while also paying as close to zero back in taxes. Only the US believes that the US is really free. The Freedom Index shows the US as around 15th. I often see posts on Reddit that basically say that X country can't be free because gun ownership is tightly controlled there, whereas we see that as granting X citizens the freedom of not being shot. That women are more emotional and less competent than men. I am not open to arguing this. Take any disagreements back to the incel forums you crawled out of. I always found that sexist idea baffling when I was a teen. Do you know how many teenage boys and grown men cannot handle rejection? It's kinda crazy. Practically every woman has a story. It's not just an incel man thing, even though the joke makes it out that way. Plenty of popular, sought-after men are also like that. Also stupid macho aggression and inability to express normal emotions. Like, calm the F down. I didn't mean to bump into you. As I got older, of course, I started to feel bad for young boys, too. They are just stupid kids, and they are taught to act this really unhealthy and stupid way. Christianity. Religion is clearly a tool for controlling the masses. Thanks for watching. Share your opinion in the comments. Please support the channel by liking and subscribing. It will help a lot.